The lights die and a voice says the one thing Marcus never expected. You're aiming at the wrong man. In the dark, the stranger wearing his father's face explains a program, a project that replaces people from the inside out. Marcus realizes this isn't a family betrayal. This is an identity war. The man gestured to his soldiers. Stand down. Let him hear it from me. And so Marcus listened. His father, or the man claiming to be him, explained the program, a government shadow project that didn't just silence whistleblowers. It replaced them. Operatives trained to take identities, to mimic voices, gestures, memories. They erase people from the inside out. If you couldn't be controlled, you could be replaced. Marcus's skin crawled. And you're saying they replace you? The man leaned closer, his voice steady. No, I escaped it. Barely. Your mother helped me fake my death. But others weren't so lucky. He slid a photo across the table, grainy black and white surveillance. Marcus's heart dropped. It was himself. The photo showed Marcus in a military uniform, but taken years before he was even old enough to serve. What the hell is this? Marcus demanded. The man's eyes darkened. They've had their eyes on you since you were born. Marcus's mind spun. This wasn't just about his father, or Harris, or Daniels. This was about him. But then came the final blow. Angela pulled another file from her coat and slammed it on the table. Marcus, open it. Inside were medical reports, DNA tests, dates. Marcus's stomach lurched as he read them. The man standing before him was a 97% genetic match, but not a father, a brother. Marcus staggered back. No, that's impossible. Angela's eyes glistened. It's not. They didn't just replace our parents. They cloned them. They've been running experiments for decades, creating copies, some obedient, some not. The man's face twitched with anger. She's lying, Marcus. Don't listen. I'm your father. I raised you. I loved you. But Marcus couldn't shake the memory, the wrong detail about the kite, the hesitation. This wasn't his father. This was something else. Before Marcus could choose who to believe, the tunnel erupted in chaos. Gunfire, smoke grenades. The walls shook with explosions. Another faction stormed in, men in black masks, silent, ruthless. They weren't here for Angela or for the imposter. They were here for Marcus. Through the smoke, one masked figure grabbed Marcus, yanking him away. Target secured. Bring him to the facility. Marcus struggled, screaming, his vision blurring. And just before darkness consumed him, he heard Angela's voice crying out, Marcus, don't let them take you. They'll make you one of them. Marcus awoke in a sterile white room, strapped to a metal chair. Across from him sat a man in a tailored suit, face hidden in shadow. On the table between them, a single folder. The man slid it forward. Inside was a birth certificate. Marcus read the name, and his blood ran cold, because it wasn't his. It was a document proving Marcus himself was never who he thought he was. Marcus's hands shook as he stared at the birth certificate on the table. The fluorescent lights hummed above him, sterile and cold, but his mind burned. The name, the date, the signature. It didn't match his. It didn't match anything he'd ever known. This is fake, Marcus whispered, his throat dry. You're lying. You doctored this. Across the table, the man in the tailored suit leaned forward, his face still shrouded in shadow. Marcus, you've been lied to your whole life. What you call fake is the first piece of truth you've ever seen. Marcus slammed the folder shut. My father was murdered. My mother raised me. I know who I am. The man chuckled low, shaking his head. You think you know, but every memory you've held onto was curated. Every tragedy you endured, orchestrated. You were never meant to survive this long. But now you're here, and it's time you learned why. The man slid another folder forward. Inside, DNA test results. Marcus froze. They weren't the ones Angela had shown him. This one said his genetic markers didn't just match his supposed parents. They matched multiple individuals. He scanned the pages. His heart pounded harder, with every word. What does this supposed to mean? The man finally leaned into the light. His eyes were cold, clinical. It means you weren't born. You were built. Marcus's breath caught. Built? The man's voice lowered. You're not just your father's son. You're his continuation. They cloned him, refined him, and embedded you into society to finish what he couldn't. Marcus's vision blurred. His stomach twisted. No, that's impossible. I have scars, memories, a childhood. The man smiled faintly. Scars can be replicated. Memories can be implanted. What you remember may not be what actually happened. The man reached into a drawer and pulled out a small device. A screen flickered on. Marcus's own childhood played before him. His first steps, his 10th birthday, his graduation. Moments he cherished, moments he believed were private. But the angles were wrong, fixed, surveillance-like. Someone had been filming his entire life. Marcus staggered back. No, this is insane. Who are you people? The man's voice was calm, almost soothing. We are the ones who keep order. We are the ones who make sure dangerous truths never reach the public. And you, Marcus, you're either going to help us or you're going to disappear. Marcus's voice cracked as he fought the panic rising in his chest. My mother, she wouldn't have let this happen. She loved me. The man's eyes flickered. You still don't understand, do you? He slid another paper forward. A letter. Marcus recognized the handwriting immediately. It was his mother's. But this wasn't a warning like the one spray painted in her house. This was a contract. Her signature sat neatly at the bottom, right beside the agency seal. Marcus's chest caved. His own mother had signed him away. The man studied his expression. She wasn't protecting you, Marcus. She was preparing you. Everything she did was for this moment. Marcus's mind fractured under the weight of it all. His father's death, his mother's betrayal, his brother's wrongful imprisonment. And now, the possibility that he wasn't even real. He gripped the table so hard his knuckles turned white. Why tell me this now? Why keep me alive if I'm just a project to you? The man's lips curled into a smile. Because the project isn't finished. You still have a role to play. The country is on the brink of collapse. We need a face, a story, a hero to believe in. You will be that hero, whether you choose it or not. Marcus's skin crawled. They didn't just want him silent. They wanted to use him. The man pressed a button on the device. A new video loaded. Marcus's heart nearly stopped. On the screen sat his father. Alive, older, weaker, but undeniably him. Marcus, if you're seeing this, it means I failed. His father's voice cracked with exhaustion. They made you in my image. They'll tell you you're me, but you're not. You're more. They'll try to use you, but you have to resist. Find the others. There are more like you. Together you can expose them. The screen went black. Marcus sat frozen, his world crumbling. His father hadn't died that night. He'd been captured, used, exploited. And Marcus wasn't his replacement. He was his legacy. Before Marcus could process, alarms blared. The man in the suit snapped his fingers. Guards stormed in, weapons raised. It's time, the man said coldly. Bring him to the chamber. Marcus fought, but they strapped him to a gurney and wheeled him to metallic halls. His pulse thundered in his ears. His father's words echoed in his mind. Find the others. What others? How many of them were there? And then the door opened. Marcus's breath caught, because standing inside the chamber was himself. Another Marcus. Same face, same build, same scars. But the eyes were different. Colder. The duplicate smirked. Finally, we meet. Marcus's blood ran cold. He wasn't just fighting corruption anymore. He was fighting himself. The duplicate leaned forward, his voice chilling. They told me I was the real one, that you were the experiment. Marcus's heart thundered, because in that moment, he realized one of them was lying, and one of them would have to die. Marcus's breath caught in his throat. The man in front of him was him, same broad shoulders, same scar above the eyebrow, same tired, determined eyes. But something in those eyes was wrong. Cold, calculated, almost rehearsed. The duplicate smirked. "I've been waiting for this." Marcus shook his head, disbelief clawing at his sanity. "This isn't real. You're not real." The duplicate tilted his head. "That's exactly what they told me about you." Marcus's pulse hammered. His father's last words echoed in his skull. "Find the others." How many? How many versions of him were walking this earth? The suited handler stepped forward, hands clasped behind his back like a judge. Two Marcusas. One truth. One lie. Which one survives? That's what we're here to determine. Marcus spat. "This is sick." The handler ignored him. "Each of you will explain your life, your memories, your truth, and we'll see which story holds. The one who falters will be eliminated." The duplicate folded his arms. "Fine, let's start." Marcus's fists clenched. He didn't know what kind of game this was, but he wasn't about to lose his identity to some imposter. The handler's voice was sharp. "Where did you grow up?" Marcus answered without hesitation. "Eastwood Projects. Apartment 3B. My mom worked 2 jobs to keep us afloat." The duplicate nodded slowly. "Eastwood Projects. Same apartment. But my mom didn't work 2 jobs. She worked nights in a lab. And she didn't raise me, she studied me." Marcus's chest tightened. "What? That's a lie." The duplicate smirked. "Funny. Then how do I know about the red door at the end of the hall? The one you were too scared to open as a kid?" Marcus froze. His stomach churned. That was real. That was his memory. How could this other version know? The handler's voice cut again. "How did you get that scar above your eye?" Marcus's answer was instant. "Playing football. Took a helmet to the face. Needed 8 stitches." The duplicate chuckled. "No, you got it when one of the doctors hit you for asking too many questions." Marcus's mouth went dry. No, that never happened." The duplicate stepped closer, eyes burning into his. "Then why do you still wake up screaming some nights? Why do you have nightmares of white rooms and needles?" Marcus's knees buckled, because he did have those dreams, but he'd always chalked them up to stress. Trauma, PTSD from his father's death. What if they weren't dreams? Marcus grabbed his head, trying to steady himself. "This isn't possible. You're twisting things." The duplicate leaned in, whispering with venom. "Or maybe you're the twist. Maybe you're the experiment they discarded. Maybe I'm the one who's real." Marcus roared and lunged, but guards pulled him back, strapping his wrists tight. The handler smirked faintly. "Fascinating. Both believe they are authentic, which means the process worked." Marcus blinked through sweat and rage. "Process? What process?" The handler's cold eyes glimmered. "You were both constructed, each with fragments of truth, fragments of lies. We've been studying which version adapts better, which one inspires more loyalty, which one the world would accept." Marcus's stomach dropped. This wasn't about him being fake or real. Neither of them was complete. They were both products, experiments, 2 halves of shattered whole. The handler circled them like a predator. "Marcus, you've been living in the field test. Every pain, every injustice you faced was curated to see how you'd respond, while your counterpart," he gestured to the duplicate, "was trained in controlled conditions. The question now is simple. Who has proven more effective?" Marcus's rage boiled. "You destroyed my family, my father, my mother, my brother. All of it was just some experiment to you." The handler didn't blink. They were variables, necessary sacrifices. Suddenly, screens lowered from the ceiling. Faces appeared. Not ordinary faces. Senators, CEOs, military generals, powerful figures from across the world, watching in silence. Marcus's got twisted. This wasn't just a test. This was theater. The handler's voice echoed through the chamber. "Gentlemen, ladies, tonight you witnessed the culmination of Project Helix. 2 candidates. One true Marcus, one imposter. Which will you crown as the face of our future?" Marcus's blood went cold. This wasn't about survival anymore. This was about control. The duplicate lifted his chin. They've seen my training, my discipline. I don't break under pressure like he does. I don't question orders. Marcus's jaw tightened. You don't question orders because you're a puppet. I fight because I know pain. I've bled. I've lost. That makes me stronger than you'll ever be. But even as he spoke, cracks spread in his certainty. His memories, his scars, his own mother's betrayal. Were they his, or were they planted? The duplicate's smirk deepened, as if reading his doubt. Tell me, Marcus, do you even remember your 10th birthday cake? Was it chocolate or vanilla? Marcus's lips parted, but nothing came out, because in his mind it was both. Two memories overlapped, one with a chocolate cake, one with vanilla. His heart pounded. The line between truth and lie had vanished. The handler raised his hand, silencing them both. Enough. The screens above flickered. The elites leaned forward. The trial begins now. Each Marcus will prove his worth. One will emerge as the future face of order. The other will be erased. Marcus's throat tightened. Erased? You mean killed? The handler's eyes glimmered. Not killed. Wiped. Every trace of your existence removed, as if you never lived at all. The duplicate cracked his knuckles. Sound like fun. Guards dragged Marcus and his double into opposite sides of a massive glass chamber. Cameras swiveled. Red lights blinked. The handler's voice boomed. Ladies and gentlemen, place your wagers. Tonight, we decide which Marcus the world will believe in, and which Marcus will vanish forever. A countdown lit up on the wall. 10, 9, 8. Marcus's heart thundered. He wasn't just fighting for survival. He was fighting for his very existence. And as the duplicate raised his fist, smiling with cold precision, Marcus realized the most terrifying truth of all. What the world believed in him more than it ever had in Marcus. The numbers glared crimson against the glass wall. 10, 11, 12. Marcus's chest heaved. His fists curled tight, sweat dripping from his brow. Across the chamber, his double stood still, composed, smiling as if this was already won. The handler's voice echoed through hidden speakers. Remember, gentlemen, only one of you will walk out of here recognized as Marcus, the other erased. 7, 8. The elites on the hovering screens leaned forward, eager, their cold eyes drinking in the spectacle like it was blood sport. 5, 6. Marcus whispered to himself, I'm real, I'm real, I'm real. But a voice inside him, one that sounded far too much like his double, murmured back, Are you? 3, 4, 5. A deafening siren wailed. The trial had begun. Marcus surged forward, fists swinging. The double moved like a mirror. Every punch blocked, every strike countered. It was like fighting his own reflection. One step faster, one beat sharper. Their fists collided with bone-crunching force. Their knees slammed into ribs. Blood sprayed onto the glass walls. The elites applauded, murmuring like gamblers around a pit. Marcus gritted his teeth. You're nothing but a fake. The double sneered. Funny, I was about to say the same thing. He lunged, and Marcus felt a boot crack into his ribs. The pain was real. Too real. As the fight raged, the handler's voice cut in. Tell them who you are. Tell them your truth. Marcus gasped through blood. I grew up in Eastwood projects. My mom, she worked double shifts just to feed us. The double laughed, even as he slammed a punch into Marcus's jaw. Wrong. She never raised you. She was one of them. You cried in the white rooms while she stood behind the glass. Marcus staggered, memories slamming into him like bricks. White rooms. His mother's face. Cold. Observing. No, that can't be. The double hiss. Then why do you dream about it every night? Marcus faltered, his mind unraveling. Because he did. He did dream of that. The elites whispered, shifting in their seats. The handler's tone grew sharp, theatrical. Ladies and gentlemen, you have seen the first phase. But understand this, Marcus is not one man. He is a program. Marcus froze mid-strike. The handler gestured to the screens. Tonight you see two versions, but we have many more. Variants, soldiers, leaders, all waiting to be unleashed. This trial merely decides which strain proves most effective. Marcus's blood turned to ice. He wasn't just fighting for survival. He was fighting to decide which Marcus would be multiplied. The duplicate grinned through blood. Imagine it, an army of me, perfect, loyal, efficient. Marcus's stomach churned. Or an army of him, broken, angry, defiant. Was either fate truly better? The duplicate pressed the attack, fists hammering Marcus's ribs like sledgehammers. Marcus swung back, desperation fueling him, but every strike felt weaker, slower. His body screamed with exhaustion. The duplicate leaned close, whispering with venom. Even if you win, do you know what happens? They'll clone you, twist you, break you down until you're theirs. You'll be the puppet, and I'll laugh when they burn your soul out of you. Marcus roared, slamming his forehead into the duplicate's nose. Bone cracked, blood spurted. The crowd of elites gasped. For a brief moment, Marcus stood tall again. I'm not your puppet, and I'll burn this whole place down before I ever become yours. The elites murmured louder, intrigued, some nodding in approval, but the handler smiled. Remarkable. One fueled by rage, one by discipline. Which future serves us best? Suddenly, the glass chamber flickered. The walls shifted into translucent screens, displaying files, birth certificates, photographs, medical records. Marcus's eyes widened. There were dozens of him, different cities, different jobs, different lives. In one file, he was a teacher. In another, a soldier who died overseas. In another, a criminal rotting in prison. All Marcuses, all real, all lies. His knees wavered. My whole life was just one of many stories. The duplicate smirked. Now you're getting it. The handler's voice thundered. Which Marcus will lead? Which Marcus will inspire nations? Choose or they both die. Marcus clutched his ribs, heart racing. He looked at the duplicate. Bloody, grinning, relentless. And then he saw something. A flicker of hesitation in the man's eyes. For just a second, the duplicate's smirk faltered. He looked afraid. Marcus pounced on it. You're not as sure as you pretend. What are you hiding? The duplicate's jaw tightened. Shut up. Marcus narrowed his eyes. You're not the original, are you? You're not even the best version. You're just another test. The duplicate roared, tackling Marcus to the ground, fists flying. But Marcus smiled through the blood. He'd hit a nerve. Suddenly, the countdown lights returned, this time above both of their heads. Marcus blinked through swelling eyes. A new timer, 60 seconds. The handler's voice was calm, almost gleeful. Oh, I forgot to mention, this trial doesn't end with victory. It ends with choice. Marcus's stomach dropped. The floor beneath them glowed faintly. Electric currents crackled under the glass. The handler continued. At the end of the countdown, if neither of you concedes, the chamber will purge itself. Both Marcuses erased. The duplicate snarled. He's bluffing. But Marcus knew he wasn't. Marcus and his double staggered to their feet, circling each other, bloodied and broken. Above them, the timer ticked down. 45, 44, 43. The elites leaned in, eyes hungry for climax. Marcus's mind raced. If he killed his double, he'd become the chosen Marcus, the one they clone, control, unleash. If he refused, they'd erase him, erase everything. There had to be another way. But as the timer flashed down to 30 seconds, the duplicate smirked through bloody teeth and whispered, "You can't win this, Marcus, because winning means losing yourself, and you're already halfway there." Marcus's fist shook, his mind unraveling. He had seconds left to decide, kill, die, or gamble on a third option he couldn't yet see. The countdown blared. 29, 28, 27, and Marcus realized the most terrifying truth of all. The chamber wasn't built to test them. It was built to break him. The timer, 29, 30, 31. Marcus's breath came in jagged bursts. His fists clenched, slick with blood. Across from him, his double smirked, even as crimson streaked his jaw. 27 seconds to decide. The handler's voice crackled over the speakers. Kill him, or die with him. Those are your choices. The crowd of elites leaned in. Every heartbeat felt like a drumbeat of doom. Marcus whispered under his breath, "This isn't a fight. It's a trap." At 20 seconds, the walls began to hum. Blue light spread through the glass. The air shimmered, distorting. Marcus stumbled back, gasping, "What the hell is this?" The duplicate laughed, bitter and cold. "You think they're watching us fight? No, they're rewriting us." Marcus's vision blurred. Suddenly, images slammed into his brain. He saw himself years younger, holding a knife, blood dripping onto the floor, a woman screaming. Marcus shook his head violently. "No, that's not me. That never happened." The duplicate's eyes gleamed. "Then why do I remember it too?" The elites applauded like spectators at a gladiator match. 15 seconds. Marcus clutched his skull. More flashes. Him, signing contracts with the CEO. Him, shaking hands with Detective Harris. Him, loading a gun and placing it in Jamal's car. "No!" Marcus screamed. "They're planting this. They're trying to make us both guilty." The duplicate snarled, shoving him against the wall. "Or maybe you just don't want to admit who you really are." Blood dripped from Marcus's lip. His mind spun with doubt. 10 seconds. The handler's voice grew sharp. "Understand, gentlemen, this is not merely about survival. It's about narrative. Whichever Marcus lives becomes history." The words froze Marcus's veins. It wasn't about truth. It was about story. The elites weren't picking the real Marcus. They were picking the Marcus they wanted the world to believe in. Rage roared through his chest. "You're not testing us. You're rewriting reality itself." The duplicate grinned, whispering through bloody teeth. "And you've already lost." 5, 6, 7. Marcus's eyes darted around the chamber. His chest heaved. The floor beneath them pulsed with electricity. He could almost feel death crawling up his legs. 2, 3. The lights went black. For a heartbeat, there was nothing. No sound. No crowd. No handler. Marcus floated in the dark, weightless, timeless. Then, the chamber's walls split open. Light poured in, blinding him. But what stood beyond the glass made his stomach drop. Rows. Rows of chambers. Each one holding another Marcus. Dozens. Hundreds. Some screaming. Some silent. Some smiling. Marcus staggered, his knees buckling. No, this isn't real." The handler's voice returned, smooth as silk. "Welcome to the next phase. You were never the only Marcus. You were just the loudest." The elite stood, clapping as if the greatest show on earth had just begun. Marcus pressed against the glass, his throat tight. "You're cloning me? Replacing me?" The handler chuckled. "Cloning? No, refining. Each Marcus represents a possible truth, a different history. And now, we decide which one replaces all the others." Marcus's blood ran cold. They weren't just manipulating him. They were deciding which version of him would exist at all. His duplicate laughed softly, stepping forward. "You still don't get it, do you? I'm not your enemy. I'm your replacement, and I've been preparing for this moment far longer than you." Marcus's eyes narrowed. "You knew?" The duplicate smirked. "I didn't just know. I helped build it." The ground lurched under Marcus's feet. His world shattered into shards of betrayal. Suddenly, alarms blared. Red lights flashed. The handler's calm tone broke for the first time. Security breach detected. Contain the chambers. Now. The elites panicked, some rushing for exits. Marcus's chest pounded. A breach? But before he could process, his duplicate lunged, slamming him into the glass. "Time's up, Marcus. Only one of us leaves. And it's not going to be you." Marcus's vision swirled as the chamber floor cracked open. Below, nothing but blackness. A void. The glass walls shattered outward. Alarms screaming, smoke filling the air. His duplicate gripped his throat, dragging him toward the edge. Marcus gasped for air, clawing at the hands, choking him. The handler's voice roared. Erase the failed copies. Purge the chamber. And as Marcus's body teetered over the abyss, a single note fluttered down from above, landing at his feet, scrawled in jagged handwriting. The real Marcus isn't either of you. Marcus's eyes widened in horror. Then the floor gave way. Darkness swallowed him whole. Darkness. Marcus plummeted through black nothingness, lungs strangled by panic. The handler's last words echoing in his skull. Erase the failed copies. Purge the chamber. And that note burned into his mind like fire. The real Marcus isn't either of you. His fingers clawed at empty air. No floor. No walls. Just a bottomless pit that promised one thing: obliteration. Then impact. His body slammed onto cold steel. Breath ripped from his chest. Pain screamed through his ribs. But he was alive. Marcus groaned, rolling onto his side. Dim red lights flickered overhead. He wasn't dead. He wasn't erased. He was somewhere worse. Rows of terminals lined the cavernous space. Screens buzzed with static. Servers hummed like a hive of insects. And in the middle, a table stacked with files. Marcus staggered forward, clutching his ribs. His eyes scanned the labels. Project Echo, Subject Mar 001. Subject Mar 245. Subject Mar 612. Each folder marked with his name, his birthday, his DNA sequence. Marcus's blood turned to ice. Hundreds of files, each one a version of him. He yanked one folder open. Inside, photographs. Marcus as a child. Except not. The face was his, but the parents weren't. Different houses, different schools, different childhoods. Another file, Marcus in the military. Except he had never enlisted. Another, Marcus as a detective, badge in hand. Another, Marcus arrested for murder. Each one a life. Each one a possible Marcus. His stomach lurched. They didn't just clone me. They rewrote me. Over and over again. On the far wall, a single monitor flickered. Marcus staggered closer. The screen snapped into focus. A video file played. It was a recording. Surveillance. And in it, Detective Harris. Marcus's supposed ally. His one lifeline. But Harris wasn't investigating. He was reporting. Leaning close to the camera, Harris's voice dripped with malice. Subject MAR 117 is displaying resistance. Recommend memory purge. Increased trauma stimuli. Marcus's chest caved. His mind screamed. Harris wasn't his partner. He was part of it. The one man he trusted most was building his prison. Suddenly, alarms blared. Unauthorized access detected. The lights strobed violently. Doors slammed shut overhead. Marcus grabbed the files, stuffing them under his arm. He sprinted toward the only exit he could see, a steel hatch at the far end. But before he could reach it, a figure dropped from above, slamming onto floor. His duplicate, bloodied, smiling, alive. "You thought you escaped me?" the double hissed. "This isn't about survival anymore. It's about replacement." The duplicate lunged. Marcus swung the file stack like a weapon, paper scattering like snow. They grappled, fists smashing into flesh, bones cracking under pressure. Marcus roared, slamming his duplicate into a console. Sparks exploded. "You're not me." Marcus bellowed. "You're just their puppet." The duplicate's eyes narrowed. "Then why do you sound exactly like me?" A fist caught Marcus's jaw. His vision flashed white. Blood pooled on the steel. The files lay scattered, secrets spilling everywhere. And then Marcus's eyes landed on one page. A single line that turned his blood to stone. Handler, Georgina Harris. Georgina, Detective Harris's sister. This wasn't random. This wasn't a coincidence. The Harris family wasn't helping him. They were running him. Marcus froze, heart hammering. His duplicate sneered. "Now you see it. They've owned you from the start." He shoved Marcus's face into file, pressing the words against his skin like a brand. "You're not a victim, Marcus. You're a product, and I'm the upgrade." Marcus's rage ignited with a guttural roar. He ripped free and smashed his duplicate's head into the steel wall. For a moment, silence, then footsteps. Heavy, marching. Dozens of guards stormed the basement, rifles raised. The handler's voice returned, calm but commanding. Terminate both. Collect the viable data. No loose ends. Marcus's chest heaved, surrounded by weapons, his double stirring beside him. The guards close in, fingers tightening on triggers. Marcus's mind raced. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. But then, an explosion tore through the far wall. Smoke, debris, screams. And through the haze, the figure stepped in. Not a guard, not a handler. Someone Marcus recognized instantly. Jamal, the man Marcus had once been accused of betraying. The man he thought was dead. Jamal's eyes locked on his. Get up, Marcus. You don't know the half of it. The guards opened fire. The screen cut to black. Gunfire ripped through the basement. Marcus dropped flat, covering his head, while Jamal, alive, breathing and very much real, charged straight through the smoke. Move! Jamal barked. His voice cut through chaos like a blade. Marcus's mind spun. Jamal was supposed to be dead. Jamal had been the reason Marcus was trapped in this nightmare. And yet, here he was, kicking over a steel table for cover, returning fire with ruthless precision. Bullets ricocheted. Guards screamed. Sparks rained from shattered consoles. Marcus crawled beside him, grabbing Jamal's arm. How are you here? They said you were dead. Jamal snapped, reloading with a click. That's what they wanted you to believe. They buried me, Marcus. But I crawled out. Jamal shoved a rifle into Marcus's hands. You were never supposed to see this place. They wanted you erased before the truth got this far. Marcus's chest tightened. The files, the duplicates, Harris, all of it. Jamal cut in, firing 3 precise shots. Project Echo doesn't create one Marcus. It creates hundreds, thousands, each one designed to fail in different ways, so they can perfect the final product. Marcus's blood ran cold. They don't want me. They want the best version of me. Jamal's eyes darkened, and they'll kill every other version until only one remains. The guards regrouped, advancing in formation. Jamal grabbed Marcus by the collar. There's no time. You want answers? You want revenge? Then survive first. They sprinted through the shattered wall Jamal had blown open. Alarms blared across the compound. Behind them, Marcus's duplicate stumbled to his feet, eyes burning with fury. This isn't over, the double roared. I am Marcus. Marcus looked back, just long enough to see his own face twisted with hatred, before vanishing into the smoke. The tunnel beyond was narrow, lined with pipes and dripping wires. Sirens echoed through the steel walls. Jamal led the way, his movements sharp, deliberate. He knew this place too well. Marcus finally spat the question burning his throat. How long have you known? Jamal slowed just enough to glance back. Since the beginning. You think I didn't notice the inconsistencies? The memory gaps? The way Harris always showed up just a little too fast. Marcus's jaw clenched. Harris, the one man he trusted. The one man who sold him out. But why fake your death? Marcus demanded. Jamal stopped at a sealed door, punching in a code. His voice was low, deadly, because the only way to beat the system was to let them think they won. The door slid open with a hiss. Inside rows of screens, each one showing a different Marcus. One in prison, one in uniform, one lying dead in a gutter. Dozens of them, living and dying on endless repeat. Marcus staggered, his stomach lurching. This is hell. Jamal's eyes locked on him. No, this is proof. Proof that you're not crazy. Proof that you've been fighting a machine designed to erase your soul. Marcus gripped the console, his knuckles white. Why me? Why not someone else? Jamal's answer was like a blade. Because you're not just Marcus. You're the template. Every version they build starts with you. Marcus's mind shattered into pieces. He wasn't a victim. He was the blueprint. Suddenly, one of the screens flickered. A live feed, Detective Harris, standing at a podium, flashing cameras. Reporters shouting questions. Jamal froze. What the hell? On the broadcast, Harris spoke with calm authority. Ladies and gentlemen, I can confirm that the fugitive Marcus Reed has been captured and terminated. Justice has been served. Marcus's heart stopped. On the screen, Harris held up an ID, his ID, and standing beside him, Marcus's duplicate, smiling for the cameras, wearing his face, wearing his life. Jamal swore under his breath. They replaced you. Officially, publicly, as far as the world knows, you're already dead. Marcus staggered back, bile rising in his throat. They've stolen my life. No, Jamal said coldly. They weaponized it. Before Marcus could answer, the compound shook violently. An explosion rocked the corridor, sending sparks raining down. The monitors shattered. Alarms screamed louder. Jamal shoved Marcus toward the emergency exit. They're wiping the place, burning every trace. If we don't move. The wall burst open. Marcus's duplicate stepped through the smoke, eyes burning with fury, armed to the teeth. And behind him, Detective Harris. Not on a screen, not on a podium. Here, in the flesh. He leveled a gun at Marcus's head, his voice ice cold. It's time to end the experiment. They thought Marcus Reed was dead. The world saw the headlines. The press conference. Detective Harris swearing justice has been served. But in the shadows, Marcus was still alive. And that's when the real nightmare began. Because standing in front of him was himself. A duplicate, a perfect copy. The Marcus the world now believed in. Gunfire shook the compound. Harris sneered. One Marcus dies. The other becomes a weapon. And for a moment, Marcus froze. How do you fight your own face? Then came the crack in the lie. A single memory. His father's words. Don't fight with anger. Fight with purpose. The duplicate hesitated. He didn't know it. He couldn't. That was the truth. That was a shift. Jamal fired first. One shot. The fake Marcus fell. And in that silence, Marcus realized the cruelest irony. They hadn't erased him. They'd proved he was irreplaceable. Harris exploded in rage. We'll make more. 100 more. The world already believes you're dead. But Marcus stepped forward calm, steady. Then the world will see the truth. He held up the flash drive, the evidence, the proof, everything they tried to bury. Harris lunged. 2 shots rang out. Marcus and Jamal, together. Justice served. The compound burned behind them. Marcus whispered the lesson that carried him through fire, betrayal, and blood. You can steal my face. You can fake my name. But you can't erase the truth. And you'll never replace my soul. You can fake a name. You can forge a signature. You can steal a face. But you cannot replace the weight of truth or the strength of a soul that refuses to break. Justice isn't about revenge. It's about making sure the lie never outlives the truth. And Marcus Reed proved that no matter how deep the conspiracy runs, no machine, no agency, no duplicate can erase the power of being real. I want to know, if you discovered the life you've lived was nothing but a test run, and someone else was living your life in public, what would you do? Fight to reclaim it? Or disappear and start over? Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the next chapter of this gripping story.